There was a time not so long ago when Wuppertal in Western Germany was among Europe's richest cities. Close to the iron and steel industries of the Ruhr, Wuppertal flourished. But like so many other cities around Europe, things have changed. Wuppertal is now among the poorest, with budgets being tightened by the world financial crisis, and deep in debt, the city is struggling to stay on the rails. It's a town in trouble, desperate for some of the money the government is pumping in to protect the economy from the worst ravages of the financial crisis. The holes in the road are a symptom of the holes in Wuppertal's budget. The place where aspirin was invented has a debt big enough to give anyone a headache. It's in hock to the tune of €1.5 billion. 25% of the city's roads need a complete rebuild, but there's simply not enough cash.
We've got to remove risks for road users, but it's a patch-up job. The best thing would be to rebuild the road completely. We know we'll be back again already next week, mending exactly the same hole, maybe even earlier. It depends on the weather. If there's heavy rain, all this tar will disappear straight away, and we'll have to come back again in a few days. What can you do?
Wuppertal has been hit hard by the retreat of big industry from the Ruhr. And as firms move away and people lose their jobs, the city collects less in local taxes. Wuppertal simply can't fulfill its obligations to its 360,000 citizens. It's a town living on tick. And it's not the only city in the Ruhr region caught in the debt trap. Wuppertal has to borrow around €120 million each year, half of which simply goes to service existing debt. That's €60 million on interest alone. There are 110 sports halls in the city, trying to cater for 45,000 youngsters doing school sport and 80,000 adult members of various sports associations. But the cracks are showing.
It's a catastrophic shambles, especially in this gym. It's impossible. If the kids need to go to the toilet, they have to walk over to the other building. And when it's below zero outside, that's a real problem. We've got more than 100 gyms to look after. It'd be nice to get at least some money to fix and upgrade them, to prepare the future for these kids here. They're Wuppertal's future.
To fix just the most rundown sporting facilities would need an estimated €25 million. The German government has come up with a €50 billion package to fight recession, and of that, almost €13 billion is earmarked for struggling towns and cities like Wuppertal. Germany took some criticism from its European neighbours last year for being slow to react to the financial crisis. But until now, EU member states couldn't agree on how to coordinate the fight against recession. The strategy to support towns and cities has one big advantage. Most of them already have projects ready to go immediately.
The swimming pool is 50 years old and it's an important and visible symbol of the city. We had to scrape together money from the budget. But that meant other urgent sporting and cultural infrastructure projects had to be postponed. It was the only way to manage the finance.
The German plan allocates the billions of euros based on various criteria. One of them, sustainable development, demands cities use the cash to improve their energy efficiency. And with 860 buildings to run, there are big savings to be made in Wuppertal alone.
If we redeveloped all the buildings owned by the city and installed up-to-date energy technology and thermal insulation, we could reduce our energy consumption by at least 50%. We have projected for the next 20 years that, on average, we could save €13 million a year.
Saving by spending might sound like a good plan, but there are other factors too. Reunification put a heavy financial burden on West German cities. Wuppertal's mayor believes it's too much.
The Eastern Solidarity contribution hits our town hard. Since 1991, we've had to channel 300 million euros from our city budget to regions in eastern Germany. I think we should forget about the points on the compass and shift resources from strong cities to weak ones.
The mayor says the central government's recovery programme is a step in the right direction, but it's not enough.
I want a fund for bad debts, similar to the one created to take on the bad debts of the former communist regime in East Germany. It should absorb the burden of heavily indebted cities. We need help.
The question being asked now is how can the city's youngsters be given a future? The new Wuppertal network brings together the local council and businesses, regional know-how and European subsidies. The latest project, called Junior University, hopes to get kids hooked on science, technology and maths through teaching without the pressure of exams and with a lot of fun. Organisers see knowledge as their raw material.
Wuppertal was once the main player in Europe's industrial revolution. Even now, we still hold the record for patent applications per person in Germany. Our power is knowledge, and we have to revive that tradition.
The project specifically targets youngsters from disadvantaged families, determined to give everyone a chance. As Wuppertal's city budget is controlled by the regional government, many residents have started projects on their own. The Wuppertal Move Association collected several million euros for a neighbourhood project co-financed by the region and the European Union.
The association wants to transform this old railway line into a walkway and cycle track. We've already collected our own resources to start it off and to make sure of the global funding scheme.
The project has even been immortalised in song to celebrate bringing people together, no matter what their background.
Wuppertal hat viel in petto. Hier ist es einfach klasse. Und neuen Schatz haben wir gerade gehoben. Das ist die Nordbahntrasse. Das Teil ist nicht nur super praktisch. Nee, das macht auch mobil. Verbindet einen Stadtteil mit dem anderen. Und bei uns heißt das viel. Hier im Tal heißt das viel.